Here we go, guys. In today's episode, we are going to discuss, and I'm going to say discuss because we're going to really get into it today, the blue belt blues. It's something that when you get to blue belt, a lot of practitioners experience, and we're going to talk about it.
You and I both have firsthand experience with this. You as the teacher and me as the student.
Yeah, I mean, Lee, you've been a blue belt twice.
Yeah, I first started doing the grappling thing well over 2 decades ago,
Yeah.
and then I got to my blue belt and then I trained a few more years and then I left for 15 plus years until I came back and started training with you.
Yeah.
So yeah, I know what the blue belt blues are. I've experienced those intimately.
And I don't get it. I'm trying to understand it as a coach, instructor, academy owner.
You've seen it happen over and over.
I've watched it happen a ton, and I'm trying to figure out how to slow it down, mitigate it, change my program so it doesn't happen. I'm trying to do all these things because I take it so personally when I get somebody to a blue belt and then a year, 6 months, or 2 years, whatever it is after they're a blue belt, they go, I'm done with this.
In my career, I've mentored and helped train a number of people in the work that I do for a living. And so in that field, it's frustrating when somebody new comes in and on day one, they can't really help me with anything. They're more of a detriment than a help. But so then you start guiding them, teaching them things. They start becoming useful. And then a year or two into it, they're like, well, I'm leaving and I'm going on to a new job. And you're like, oh, right. So I feel that from my own.
You spent a lot of time and energy into that person.
Yeah. And you're like, that just walked out the door.
That's right.
Right.
And that's the same feeling that you get as an instructor when you build somebody up to a blue belt. Like
you're just getting to where the really good stuff can start out.
And to get to a blue belt, you've put some serious effort into this.
Yep. You've been squashed for a long time.
And that's where I can't wrap my head around somebody quitting or stopping at that stage, right? I get it. Someone joins the Jiu Jitsu Academy 2-3 months in, they come to some classes, they realize, it's not for me. That happens a lot.
Yep.
But for someone to spend 2 years-ish at something and then just decide that it's not for them, that's to me very odd. And I'm an anomaly because I was a blue belt as a teenager.
Yeah.
And I was a teenager full of piss and vinegar at a blue belt, so I don't get that.
You're one of those people who was born to be a fighter, right?
Yeah.
You're built that way. Yeah. So it really didn't matter what kind of training you received or what kind of school you went to. You were going to find your own way and get to where you are now.
Yeah.
Right.
Or there was no quit in me.
No. Yeah. Whereas most people who are hobbyists, well, okay, so here was my experience. I trained and there was a curriculum and I learned the basics of a bunch of techniques to pass the test, and that happened and that was great. But then there was a pretty large disconnect between, I'm told and I understand, all right, you've learned how to kind of write the alphabet, but now you need to learn how to start putting things together and flow. If you ever want to get to purple, you need to do this stuff at speed against real resistance. And I was like, I get it. That makes sense. How do I do that? What's my next step? And there just seemed to be a disconnect because when I'd be coming to class, we're still going over the same initial, techniques, the same details in a technique. To do an under the leg guard pass at the blue belt level, how many details as a person do you expect them to know for an under the leg
At a
guard
blue
pass?
belt, 4 to 6.
Okay, and how many do you know?
32.
Right, and you knew that very specifically right now. You knew, so when you keep seeing the same 4 to 6, okay, I'm not getting any new content. Also, when I'm rolling in class, this guard pass isn't working against this guy. And I'm not getting those extra 28 details, 26, 28 details that would make it work.
Yeah.
And yet you go, well, I know this under the leg guard pass. Well, not really. You've been introduced to it and you know it at a very coarse, high level. But now how do you get into that feat, right?
That's
and if
right.
it's not being given to you, will you figure it out on your own?
Well, and here's my question for you as a blue belt. When now you're a seasoned blue belt, right? As an instructor, I give a white belt 2 to 6 details per technique. I okay if they can grasp 1 to 2,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. You know it's not all gonna stick.
If I give you 6 as a white belt, 6 details on a technique, you're maybe going to get half,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
And it's going to take you some time to really get the other half or to get to a full 6 details on a technique. Now, per technique, depending on the technique, I'm going to know 2 dozen to 3 dozen
On average, that's kind
details,
of, yeah.
depending on what the technique is. And the reason why I share different details on the technique is because, well, then you experience resistance.
Right.
And that's where the extra details matter,
Yes.
right?
Yes, it does.
So the first few details that I show somebody are basically the meat and potatoes. This is what you need to do to perform this technique.
You need to do this to at least start making it look like a technique here. And when you go, oh, yeah, I've learned it. Well, you haven't learned the escape. You're starting to learn it. A blue belt doing techniques, to me, it's like if you're thinking of learning to read and write, and you're going to write letters. Now, first, as a kid in school, you learn to write the alphabet.
Yep,
You know?
yep.
And so, like about the grade 3 level, you can write the alphabet, you can put some words together, maybe make some sentences. But nobody's going to look at what you've written down and confuse that with something that a competent adult wrote. The letters are shaky, the sentence structure is very simplistic, the grammar's not there. That's where we're at when we're first starting to learn new techniques. Your alphabet letters are pretty shaky.
Yeah.
Yeah, you kind
And
of
there might be some spelling mistakes.
there's going to be spelling mistakes. It's going to look, even when you put things together right, it still looks like a pretty rudimentary sentence.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
There is, I think, a misconnect in the expectations we have sometimes because, yeah, getting to a blue belt 2 years, you go, I put in a lot of work. What do you mean I hardly know this stuff?
Yeah.
And that's one of the first big milestones where you really, the rubber meets the road and you really start to grasp how big this grappling topic is.
Well,
that it does take a lifetime to get.
And here's my question for you and the viewers. Is that the biggest issue when it comes to being a blue belt? Is you put in all this time to get to a blue belt and you think like, oh yeah, that's my first milestone. And then you really realize, oh my God, the road ahead is so vast.
And everything you hear and everything you see says the road only gets harder from here. And that can be discouraging. And we get an idea in our head, well, it's just going to keep getting harder until I can't travel the road anymore. Well, you're getting better as the road's getting harder. So relatively speaking, it should stay challenging, but not overwhelming.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, and define harder.
Yeah.
Is it harder physically, like more physically demanding? Is it harder mentally, where you have to like grasp things? Is it both of those?
I think in the beginning, a lot of it is physical. People that you're going to rely on what you know and what you have. And if you don't have a lot of knowledge, it becomes physical. Right? People who are athletic and have a lot of those attributes, they'll come in and in the beginning, a lot of that stuff works quite well and it will carry you to purple belt.
Yeah.
But if you don't understand the subtlety and the depth, I mean, I'm speaking above my pay grade here, but it seems like that won't carry you much beyond purple belt.
No.
Right? That the higher belt levels, it really becomes about the knowledge and what you've got in here. Yeah. Less and less about it. You still need that always.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, it helps.
You can't grapple without any muscle. Stephen Hawking would never be a great grappler. Doesn't matter how much he knows. Right?
Oh, man.
Love you, Stephen. Too bad you're gone.
Yeah, and as an instructor, I will generally take it very personally when I have a blue belt exit.
This is something that you love and you're passionate about, and I can see where it would be kind of, and it almost feel like a personal insult. Like, what did I do wrong?
That's right.
Yeah.
And but that's how I operate on every level, running a business, running a school, coaching. If my students aren't progressing the way I think they should be, that's on me, right? I own that. And so I make adjustments to my program, to the way I'm teaching, to what I'm doing to try to mitigate all those things that happen in your minds or bodies or whatever that go, oh, I should stop.
I've noticed you, since the past 2+ years that I've been training with you now, you're always working on trying new things and revamping classes and your content, and a technique that you taught a certain way a year ago, you'll all see slight differences now. We revisit it again, and now suddenly instead of framing here, you're framing there, or maybe you're not even framing and you're doing a lot of your escapes now. You don't bridge very much. It's you're doing things with just a roll.
Yeah.
Right. Whereas,
Yeah.
and so that's interesting. And people can look at that two ways. They can go, "Oh, you're always changing content." Well, no, you're advancing it and making it better. You need to keep coming to blue belt class all the time.
Yeah.
If you have a brown belt, you should still be coming to the blue belt class, because to me, I don't look at the fundamentals as, well, that's very basic and I've got it now, I'm done with it. To
Yeah.
me, if fundamental means that it is so important that you cannot be good at this without deep knowledge of that
That's right. That's right.
particular thing.
And-
Dive deep.
And this is the exact reason why I changed that blue belt class, our blue belt class. So rebranding it from blue belt curriculum, where you just learn the blue belt curriculum techniques, to blue belt prep and development.
Mm-hmm.
So now what I do when I teach my white belts to blue belts is I don't only teach them the techniques, I teach them how to use the techniques and when they're applicable. So that by the time they're a blue belt, they're not like, oh my God, I'm lost in trying to decipher what techniques to use. No, you already know.
There's something 80 or 90 different things on the blue belt test that it's a lot.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So you learn all these things in isolation. Okay, how do you put them together? Right?
That's right.
You can write all the letters of the alphabet beautifully and still not know how to put words together.
That's right.
Or sentences.
Or anything.
Matter,
Yeah, yeah.
right? It's, to me, I like the analogy of a language compared to learning jiu-jitsu, because it seems like there's a lot of similarities to it, right?
Yeah.
You can have perfect grammar and a great vocabulary and still not be able to write anything interesting to read, because maybe you have no comedic timing. Maybe you're just not dynamic in how you put sentences together.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Grappling is very similar in a lot of ways.
Yeah, definitely.
That creativity element that comes in. Grappling is something, because to me it seems like it's got to be one of the most complex forms of combat.
Yeah.
You know, and so it's going to appeal to people who like that depth.
Yeah.
And that subtlety of, oh, this makes that much difference, and this is applicable in this case but not there.
Yeah.
Right.
But to me, that's the fun part about this sport.
That's what prevents the burnout. When I see those details, see, some of that too comes down to a person's personality, because some people see that and go, oh, that's the part that's interesting to me.
It's like playing golf, right? Does anybody ever play a perfect game of golf?
No, the best golfer ever is not. No one's ever shot 18 hole-in-ones.
That's right.
Ever.
That's
anywhere.
Right. The courses aren't designed for you to do that. To me, that's the appeal of this sport. And maybe that's the reason why the high volume of burnout at blue belt is people just can't grasp the fact that it's like, yeah, I'm going to make mistakes. Maybe you just don't like making mistakes.
There's that. I think there might be different causes for burnout.
Yeah.
So like in my case, and for the people like me out there, you learn some techniques and then you're kind of left with this void, this chasm that you got to figure out how to get across. Well, I have these techniques in purple belt. I need to have these skills and that, and I don't know how to get across this uncrossable space.
Yeah.
I could see it working almost in reverse for other people, where you come in and if you got the athletic gifts, things come easy to you in the beginning. When you're grappling against other white belts and lower blue belts, the stuff you're doing works fine without a lot of details.
Yeah.
And then there does, like we were talking about a little while ago, at the higher belt levels, there's that shift from using a lot of physical power to what goes on up here.
Yeah.
So there's a mental shift that you have to be prepared to undertake and go, okay, muscle's been working up till now, but now to really go beyond this plateau, I need to couple that to knowledge.
Yeah. Yeah.
Detailed, fine-grained knowledge.
Yeah.
Right? And that's not for everybody.
But
Right.
and that can almost be a personality shift.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Yes.
you have to change the way you behave as a
Yes.
human being.
Yes. Now it's you have to we've talked about it before, like when you're training is not competing.
No. Yeah.
Whereas a lot of people in the beginning, they don't see a difference between that.
Yeah, that's right.
Right.
I'm fighting, right?
I'm fighting.
They call what gets me a lot of times is when we're just doing like rounds.
Yeah.
And people will say, "Oh, we're fighting today." I'm like, "No, I'm not fighting.
And we've never fought in here.
We're training. We're training. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not fighting you.
Yeah, if I was fighting you, you'd be in trouble.
If I was fighting you, I'd be punching you."
Yes. And maybe biting.
Yeah.
What
There's
kind
a
of-
big difference between fighting and training.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, so that mental shift, and if you're not prepared to do that, you can get to a point where you're pretty good, pretty scrappy just by learning, basic blue belt techniques and then having athleticism. And if you're happy with that, fine, right?
Yeah.
But people who want to actually squeeze the most out of this art, it's diving deep.
Well, and it takes time,
Yes.
right? It takes a lot of time. And I don't know if that's one of the biggest deterrents out there as well is, people, I'm going to pick on Taekwondo a little bit right now, right? Who hasn't done Taekwondo as a child? Everybody has, right?
Just about.
It's the martial art everybody goes into when they're a kid. But Taekwondo progresses people really fast through their belt ranks. So they almost create this,
You're always
carrot.
leveling
You're
up.
always getting this carrot, right? And in jiu-jitsu, it's like white to blue belt is a 2-year process-ish.
Yeah,
Could be longer, could be less, not by much,
but on average.
right? 2 years just to get your first next belt
Of getting squashed.
is a long time. So there's no carrots.
No, the carrots come very. If you're doing a martial art to get a belt, this is not a good one
No,
to pick.
yeah. No,
It's not. They don't come around a lot.
No, they don't. And maybe that's the deterrent with people is, some people are motivated by the carrots.
I think a lot of people just do not understand how complex it is.
Well, you can't.
You can't even grasp it until you've been in it a while.
No. Yeah.
I think it's really only like maybe, yeah, talking about my pay grade, but I'm gonna say, correct me if I'm wrong, that it isn't until you're basically at about at least a brown belt level before you really start to see the ocean. The size of how big it is.
Dude, for me, it probably wasn't even until first degree black belt.
Really, yeah. So that was what, 15, 20 years of training, 10 years of training.
Yeah.
And then you started going, wow. Now the
Yeah.
horizon just opened. It's like the fog just lifted.
That's right. And then you get to really play with the little nuances. Oh, what if I just move my hand like this? How does that change?
How does that change stuff?
Right? So going back to how many details are in every technique. Well, how you position your hands on the mats, how you position your knees and your toes on the mats, right? A lot of people don't think about that. They're just like side mount. And this is what people do, side mount, and they fall on people.
Mm-hmm.
They sprawl on
You're
people.
sprawling. You're not
You're
just sprawling.
sprawling.
You're doing something completely different.
And you think you're heavy, but you're really not.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
So I guess my question for you is, and the viewers, how do school leaders, instructors, black belts, how do we manage the blue belt burnout? Is there a way to manage it, or is it something that is just like, this is part of the game and we have to accept it?
See, I think that's traditionally been the common thinking.
Yeah.
You know, almost like an old school boxing gym where it's like, well, you come in, you take your lumps, you either toughen up or we don't need you here.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and that is one way to do it, but you're going to have a high attrition rate,
Yeah.
you know. And I mean, we love this art, we want to grow it. It's hard enough to keep people in it without turning
Correct.
average people away,
Correct.
right?
Correct.
You know, um,
But again, back to your point about spending time with people, right? It sucks. It really does suck spending 2 years developing somebody, just getting them to the point where it's like, oh, you're starting to move like a
Yeah.
grappler.
you're no longer elbowing and
And then for whatever reason,
they just one day they're no longer
yeah, for whatever reason, they're just like, I've decided to jam out.
Sometimes I think that people like the idea of the thing more than the thing.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
so you hang in there going, I want to like this. I really want to like this. And eventually you just go, it's not for me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But, and I think in the very beginning, that was a little bit of what I had. And then somewhere along the way, I burned out. And then somewhere along the way, the switch did flip, where it was instead of me wanting to like this, I actually did like this.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And a lot of where that switch flipped was having access to a program like this where I felt like I can come and train and be safe.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I am always getting fed those new details, right? Oh, I know that
Yeah.
when this guard pass comes around the next time you're teaching it in a year,
Yeah.
there's going to be some new content. You're going to let
Yeah.
me know some new things I've never seen before.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's what keeps me coming back, right? But if you don't have a taste for that to really keep diving deep, it's you're gonna plateau.
Well, and I'm going to be honest here. For me, as a black belt that's been teaching for, man, I've been doing this for a long time.
Your whole life, since before you were an adult,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I was teaching martial arts when I was 15 years old.
teaching adult classes.
Correct.
Yeah.
So over that time, it's like, I don't make it fun for me. I don't teaching the same guard pass over and over again the same way. It gets monotonous as the instructor. So you're like, how do you make it better, even for me as the instructor, to deliver this? If I love what I'm delivering to you guys, well, guess what? You guys are really going to love it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. If you're just phoning it in, what's the point?
What's the point? Right?
I have where I consider myself incredibly lucky is because you're a second degree black belt. You teach all your classes.
Yeah.
There are a lot of schools where the head instructor's like, I'll let my brown belt teach it. I'll let them teach it.
Yeah.
It's like, well,
Yeah.
the guy who runs the school has that credential, but he's not passing it down night after night after night.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Some people don't like to teach as much as you do. So we're pretty fortunate to have, and that's where I feel people watching this who might be suffering the blue belt blues, they go, well, that's great for you, Lee. You happen to have this awesome instructor who keeps everything fresh. I don't. What do I do? Right?
Yeah. And again, I don't know how everybody out there runs their programs.
Yeah.
All I know is I'm the type of human being that I can see when something's not working the way I need it to work. And I'm like, I need to make a tweak with that. So for me, something that I've done and I've done recently in our program here to try to mitigate the blue belt blues or burnout, whatever you want to call it, is, every academy will usually have a fundamentals class, right? A beginner's class. And then they have rolling classes or technique classes, but they don't really have a class designed specifically to develop color belts and beyond. There's always been a clear line from white to blue belt, but the line between blue to purple is like,
That's what happened to me. When I got my blue belt the first time, I trained for an additional 4 years.
yeah,
And I swear that at the end of those 4 years, I felt like I was no closer to purple.
really.
Yeah, that's what I felt like. And so I was like, I'm done. I'm just coming here being cannon fodder for the other guys.
Yeah.
Why would I keep doing this, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I thought, that's it. I'm never going to train again. And then it was a long break until
Yeah.
I finally came back. And you went, I do things way different than the old school ways. So
Yeah.
give it a try. And I've been loving it ever since.
Oh, thanks.
Like I am so far away from blue belt blues right now. I got the same rank I had back then, but back then I felt like, I'm not making any progress. Right now it feels like my training, my skills and everything are doing this now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And they are. I'm watching it happen on the mats for you.
Right. Sometimes I see it. And, there's still a lot of times where I still get my butt handed to me in a hi hat, and that's fine. We talked about in the beginning, people would come and they're going to start training, and they're like, the guy would go home and his wife or girlfriend would ask, how was class today? Oh, great. I tapped out 4 guys. I don't even consider, sure, that feels nice. But the nights where I go home the happiest is where I discovered a new thing and I didn't necessarily even escape or tap or anything. I might have still never got out, but I realized, hey, when I turned my hips this way or I pinched my knees that way, I felt a real difference there.
Yeah.
I botched the thing that came after it, so the guy shut it down and I never got, but that doesn't matter. It was like, there was a real thing there. I had a light bulb moment. Those are the ones where I go home and for the next week, I'm like, now I got something to work on.
And what you're doing is you're just layering.
Yeah.
So basically what you're saying, Lee, is there's no way to mitigate the blue belt blues.
To a degree. You can reduce it, but you're never going to get rid of it completely.
Yeah.
Because I think there's a number of things. In some cases, there's a mental shift. If grappling is easy for you early on, that means there's going to come a mental shift later on. Because the things that are making it easy now are your athleticism.
Yeah.
That will carry you certain way.
Yeah.
And then you'll plateau. So those guys will burn out if they don't go through the shift.
Yeah.
The other people who don't have the athleticism, they need to suffer and keep it interesting. The things you're doing to change things, keep those people progressing until now they've got the athleticism that they happen to possess is now enough coupled with their knowledge.
Yeah, yeah.
That's when it gets fun.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
I feel like I'm just starting to put like one foot through that door a little bit right now. And it's like, oh, this is getting so interesting.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
If a person can make it through, and if you can find some way to get those extra details, if you're in a school where they're not handing those out, I guess you're on your own to get that off the internet, off of this guy's videos, right? Anyway,
Anyways.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. Let us know in the comments. Blue belt blues. How do we mitigate it?
Bam. Bam.
Make you wait on your high five.
Yeah. Don't leave me hanging, buddy.
We hang it. You know what we need for our discussion videos is like a little blow up couch. We'll pump like a couch on the mats and just be like,
Sipping tea.
Yeah,
Fireside chat. Hey.
I think we do.
That'd be funny.